I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take...
They say 20 seconds in the California sunshine is too much these days. Ever since we lost the ozone layer. But that was before Sunblock 5000. Just apply a pint to your body and you're good for hours. See you by the pool.
Sunblock 5000. Protection for the new age.
Can you guys hear me now? So, like I was saying, guys, we don't really have like a really set schedule when we're doing this. First of all, welcome everybody. So everybody watching us on the rewind, just kind of go ahead and leave us a comment down below and let us know what is something that we can do to improve to make this better. Also, like we don't necessarily, like I said, don't have a set schedule. So sometimes it's Friday, sometimes it's Saturdays. I know it's just crowded out here in the comic tube. So whenever you get to it, we really appreciate it. So we're gonna be adding in our guest or VIP today, and it's gonna be brother.
I'm up in the lounge, baby. VIP section.
There you go. There you go.
Hell yeah.
Get a whole bottle for this, man. And we got usual geeks, man. How you doing, brother?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Not bad, man. Just happy to be here again. So, yeah, man. I think with Comichead, bro, like, how you been, bro? Like, what's up? What you been up to? What's going on in the land of Comichead, man?
Yo, first off, what's up with that sunblock, bro? Is that real? No,
Hey, it's a scorcher out here, man.
The funniest little detail was like when she's talking about the ozone layer, she take the hat off and you see the top of the hat is burnt through. That was wild.
Yeah. That shit only takes 1 pint. That's all you need. It's a pint.
1 pint, yeah.
It's like laid on thick, you know. Just
Yeah,
careful because it might cause cancer, you know.
Yeah, my girl's like that actually with the boys. Like she lathers that stuff on like pretty thick.
So yeah, so the reason we're here is we're going to be doing a little bit of talking about movies, man. And I know that this is more like comic centric, but I think this is important to kind of talk about because especially like the Marvel stuff is so tied in with the MCU. Like that stuff's kind of important. So as a collector, it is kind of important to kind of keep up with that stuff. So Just kind of get your guys' thoughts on like what do you guys think about like the current like where Marvel's at? Like what do you guys feel like? I guess as Seinfeld would say, what's the deal with them superhero movies, man?
Question. I mean, it seems like public opinion has been, you know, not going in Marvel's favor with in like the past year or two is what it seems, right? Even like seems like even general consensus is that like there was a while where it was just like maybe a vocal minority, but I do feel like they're, you know, it
I
was a
think
high bar they set.
I think it felt special too because we were only getting like 4 a year. You know, 4 movies a year was a lot of movies, and now we're getting 10 plus 10 TV shows, and it's just overload. Like I didn't read every comic story that was out there whenever I was little, anyways. So now I feel like I'm being forced to watch all these things just to like keep up with the movies that I want to watch too. You know?
How you doing, Kenneth? Welcome, brother. So
Hey,
yeah, just I guess it's just the facts, bro. Like, the movie industry ain't doing too good. Like we saw like the pinnacle was pretty much end game. And then everything we've gotten like diminishing returns since then. It's like we're getting less and less. Part of it could be the economy, people are, tightening their belts, inflation, like movies are probably going to be the first thing, entertainment's probably going to be the first thing people cut. So that could be part of it too. But then again, there's also like the content too. Like there's like some stuff. So I'm gonna pull up like this. I got a little slide here so we can a little visual prompt right here. What's going on? So it's basically what Phase 4 was pretty much this.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what I'm talking about. Like if you went to phase 1, you would get like 3 movies and you'd be so excited to see those movies. And now it's literally just like packed with shit. Even though a lot of these are cool, if they would have spread them out over like, this would be like a 10-year period, everybody would, I think, look forward to it a lot more than what it is now.
What do you guys think? Like for me, I think the change really started with like WandaVision. I think that was like,
Yeah, Disney Plus in general starting to do TV shows. It was dope. Like I feel like there was a lot of hype with WandaVision. Like when WandaVision dropped, it felt like an event. Like when a new season of Game of Thrones came out, like it was kind of water cooler talk, appointment viewing. WandaVision, I feel like was that because it was like, oh shit, this is like. And then when you see in a couple episodes, it kind of felt like MCU movie quality, more or less. So it was like, whoa, this is sick. But I feel like ever since then, no show has really had like that level of prestige attached to it,
Mhm.
you know. And I also just wonder, like, I don't understand how these motherfuckers make money on the streaming. Like, I was reading how the Secret Invasion's budget was like basically the same as Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said it was like 216 million for 6 episodes or something like crazy like that.
Yeah, it's insane for a show.
And it's not so much that like I'm like I'm not baffled by how could they spend that much money to make those shows. I get it. I'm sure you're making a lot more hours of just film compared to from a season compared to a movie. But the part that
But
bugs me
there's
out,
no income,
yeah, like how do you gauge what's worth it, what's not? Like, you drop Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you see what the box office is like hundreds of millions of dollars for that
Yeah.
investment. So it's like, okay, that made sense. It's like what's coming in from Secret Invasion, you can't really tie it.
Yeah.
It's a monthly fixed subscription. No one's buying Secret Invasion. Streaming is as a business model is kind of a weird one for me.
Yeah, that's what they're like that whole strike thing that's going on right now is something with the streaming and like the some bullshit like that because they can't track any of it, and there's like you're spending so much money on this stuff, and like even like if you go to a cheap movie and you were to watch a Secret Invasion at $7 a person, compared to spending the $6 for the whole fucking household to watch it, plus you share it with like your brother,
Right.
your code, and it's like they have to be making like nothing off of it. There's no ads or anything, so like they're not even getting ad revenue.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's crazy.
And like,
And you're getting all the other shit that's on the app service.
Yeah. So they're
you're
getting
gonna pay
like,
off that shit, you know?
yeah, they're getting like 2 cents per episode from each person. Like if you factor in all the other titles that they have on that.
and part of it too is the companies themselves are not releasing their numbers. Like they know what their numbers are, but they're not releasing it. And part of it is because of the bargaining, right? They
Yeah.
don't, because then the labor can be like, well, your guys are making this many views, why are we only getting this much, like, and I think that's part of like that double-edged sword. Like, they're not releasing the numbers, but at the same time they're kind of just trying to be like, trust us, these people are watching these, or people are, it's kind of like, it's just weird right now. I think the whole film industry, and I think part of too with the labor you guys are saying, like I don't think it's like a really good time for them to strike, and that's just me, my opinion personally, because they don't have a whole lot of leverage going in. Like, I mean, we've seen the movies aren't doing that great, the shows aren't doing that great, so it's kind of like,
Yeah, even Disney came out and they said that they kind of fucked up and they're going to cut way back on this stuff. They said,
Yeah.
they're going to do a few a year, but it's not going to be anything like this. There's a ton of these shows that I was like super excited for, and none of them panned out. Like fucking Moon Knight, I was really excited for that, and WandaVision, I was really excited for that. But yeah, nothing. Like the only things that I like really is those short movies.
yeah.
Like
Werewolf.
Werewolf, yeah.
the Werewolf by Night, or even the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, like coming out for Christmas. It's like something fun to just watch real quick. But yeah, the TV shows are, especially now that they're getting into like a bunch of the characters I'm not really familiar with. Like the Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. That stuff.
And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think like WandaVision, I enjoyed it. I love the production of it, but something that irked me was, one, it was like some episodes were like freaking 7 minutes, and I was like, bro, this is not long enough. But I think one of the biggest thing that I think WandaVision started that kind of continued out throughout Phase 4 was this whole bait and switch kind of shit. Like they were like, oh, we're gonna get Mephisto, and they were leaning into that shit really hard, and then it turned out to be nothing. And I think it's kind of like you see it a little bit. Like I think at the MCU before Endgame, they would tease something, but then you would get it. You know what I mean? So it would get you kind of excited for the next thing. And then now they were kind of like, you might get this, and then you only get a little bit, but it's actually something else. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about that. And
I mean,
what's up, Biggie?
Biggie and Howie. I mean, I think in fairness, the Mephisto one, I feel like was a lot of ill reaches from, reviewers and community stuff, because I don't think there was actually a lot of tangible Mephisto Easter eggs, really. But I do think the straight up bait and switch in that show was the Quicksilver one. Like they intentionally were fucking with you on that. Like it's Peter Boner.
Oh yeah, that sucked too. Like, because I was really looking forward to like the multiverse type thing.
They were clearly making it seem like it was the Fox guy coming in. So that was like a definite example of what you're saying with the bait and switch. And that, yeah, I mean,
I really think they should have just ended it after Endgame and like went like to a watcher, and he was like, "This was the story of Earth, whatever," and like prepare yourself for another phase, and like they just reboot everything because this is getting like crazy, and it would have sucked to lose some of the old guys that were still around, but I think we would have all been happier like to see a new chapter, like a really new chapter.
Yeah. Multiverse of Madness, I actually really like that one. I love the horror elements in that and everything, but again, bait and switch with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and stuff like that. And but other than that, like I love Multiverse of Madness. I thought that was a great one. Thor: Love and Thunder, I thought that was fun. It was just kind of like Thor, they did what they did and turned him into an idiot pretty much, but it was still a fun movie. It's just it didn't have that continuity of going through that. So a lot of these shows that I was kind of excited for, like I kind of lost interest into it. Like I haven't even watched Secret Invasion to be honest. What are your guys' thoughts on some? What were some of you guys' favorite, or what do you guys think about some of these projects? Like,
Well, the because the shows, I feel like are more criticized than the movies are. But then
mhm,
again, I don't know because basically the movies still make money generally. Like I looked at the last year, and Disney had like 4 movies in the top 10, like most highest grossing. Because I do see that narrative of like, oh, Disney's everything's trash. They're going broke. Go woke, go broke. All the movies are bombing, and it's
yeah,
like there's still the movies are making money, uh,
yeah.
but
I would
there's
say like,
quality drop. You know, the shows I don't know. That's why it's so weird with the shows. It's like I don't know what the fuck's making money on those as far as that goes.
yeah, like I agree with you. They are making, but they're not making like I guess they're not making what they used to, and I think some of it
Yeah.
is due to the economy, and it just doesn't have that excitement. Like I got fucking Disney right here,
Mm.
bro. Like this is pretty much like
Yeah.
the last 5 years, right? This is where they're sitting at now, 86. They used to be like at 100, almost $200 per share. Like I'm not a freaking economist, bro, but like that can kind of tell you that it's getting tight out there, you know. Bobby, bro, what's up, man? Appreciate you. I did love the what ifs. I love the Killmonger one. I thought that one was dope, dude. Oh, and the
Really, if
Captain Carter.
if movies can make $1 billion, then I don't know how much you can call it to the economy because like Top Gun Maverick, right? That shit
Yeah.
killed it $1 billion. So clearly, if the movie is good enough, the economy is at least sustainable enough for that shit to make $1 billion.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think it's just like supply and demand. There's so much of this stuff. Like
Yeah,
everybody's just like getting picky and choosy with it. Like you can only take your girlfriend to so many Marvel movies before she's like, I don't want to see this one. And then you're going solo and it's just going to drop like that. Like everybody was excited because there was 4 a year and you could talk everybody into going or whatever. And now there's literally 10 a year and nobody wants to see all that shit. Like, are any
Yeah.
of you guys going to go see the Marvels?
I'm planning on waiting on the streaming, and I feel like that's like a thing that they're fighting against because I think during COVID they were like they were training people to wait for the streaming. You know what I mean?
But I mean, I'm
So
just saying, like, that's another one that's coming up. Like, if that was one of 2 Marvel movies that was coming out this year, and it
yeah,
had big implications on, like, say, like how Thanos was kind of getting sprinkled here and there, or something was getting sprinkled here and there, we would probably all go see it. But since it's like one of 10 with a bunch of TV shows,
hmm
I think it's going to get skipped by a lot of people.
like I think when Deadpool 3 drops, that shit is going to make $1 billion.
Yeah,
And
I
that
agree.
like now where we're at is like they just have to work harder. Like it was easy money before
yeah,
leading to Endgame. It was easy. Everything was this was like a new phenomenon. Like oh shit, seeing
yeah.
all these people on the screen for the first time. They were on a real roll with all the A tier characters, and now they just got to earn it more.
Yeah.
Like
Now they got to do something like Far From Home, where they get all the different Spider-Men to come back and they have this massive movie. That was $1 billion movie. You
Yeah,
know,
and that
it is. They had to pull out all the gimmick stops in the
yeah,
trick bag. You know what I'm
or the
saying?
member berries.
yeah, but you can't just do a Miss Marvel and bring in the girl from the TV show and be like, oh, this is going to hit, you know, because it's not the same.
Yeah, man.
And also too, like I feel like the standard for like success of movies is probably always going to be like, well, did this movie, reach that bar, like, $1 billion and stuff. And I think it also has to do with like are we setting the bar like also too like these budgets are getting really fat. Like, before that these like top A-list celebrities didn't want to be part of hero movies, you kind of had to pick some guys with lesser names and now but then I felt like towards the end of the MCU and into phase four, you started getting some really big, established actors who were trying to, get in there. And obviously with those bigger names, you get, your budget's going to swell up because you got to pay Russell Crowe to be Zeus or whatever. And you got to pay, Michelle Pfeiffer and all that, which I really enjoyed her in Thor as well. But, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I like the idea of them, giving the smaller actors kind of a shot. Um,
Like,
and yeah, this graph is pretty much just showing like the difference between like how much they made and what their budget
oh,
was.
compared to the budget. Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's nuts. Look at
Yeah.
that. They
Check
killed
out
it.
Endgame at the end.
Golly.
Yeah,
That
even some of the worst ones, like they're just killing it with how much they made.
yeah, right.
Like it's insane.
They did have the benefit of there is something to be said for it was new, like it used to
Yeah.
just be just the fact that you were giving us the Avengers all together in one movie, like that didn't even matter how good the movie was, frankly. It was like that right there is all you need to make a killing. But it's like it's old hat now, so now you actually have to come through with like a solid product. You got to work a little harder. What was that MaxiPad commercial?
Yeah, shout out to Biggie, bro, for that. It was a Maxi Pack commercial, I guess. Multiverse of Madness.
What does that mean? Female centric?
I think I don't know if he's talking
Oh,
about
it
that
was
scene.
bloody.
Yeah, it was very bloody. But
Yeah. See, can you pull up that graphic of the Phase 4, all the shit on Phase 4? Because leading up to Endgame, bro, there wasn't a Marvel movie that there were very few that I did not make a point to go to the theaters and see in the theaters. Right?
yeah,
Phase 4, huge drop off. Like, let me see the ones that I watched in theaters. So top row, Far From Home. I saw that in theaters. Um, Multiverse of Madness. Did I see that in theaters? Yeah, saw that one, and I saw Black Panther 2 in theaters, and that was it. So I skipped, Eternals, Thor, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah. I
That's like
erased Eternals out of
unheard.
my memory, to be
Which one?
honest, but Eternals. I tried
Yeah,
to watch it and I couldn't get through it.
it was bad.
Um,
I frankly thought Shang-Chi sucked. Everyone like really talks highly about it, but I was bored. Like it wasn't that exciting. The ending was just like a CGI battle. Shang-Chi versus some random ass CGI monster that I was not invested in. I mean, I know his dad
yeah,
was in there. Like there was some stakes to that.
yeah.
I tried watching it twice and fell asleep twice. Like so that didn't really hit for me. Love and Thunder I did think was quite bad. It was just too. It was just too like silly
Yeah, it was
for my
goofy.
particular taste. But some people like, I get that Taika
I liked
Waititi.
it,
That's his
but
brand.
Yeah, I
So
gotta say that's one that everybody shits on that I kind of liked, but I
you
could
like
see
that
why
one?
everybody would shit on it because it was like just goofy as fuck.
Yeah, it was a little
it,
kooky.
but yeah, and I can understand like the argument against like yeah, I feel like it didn't really do much for like the character himself, like Thor. Like I guess that's kind of was the end of Thor, really. Like where do you go from Thor once you get him there, Like um but overall, like it was fun. Like you got kids, everybody was laughing, everybody was having a good time. But
Yeah.
it just wasn't, like for everyone. Guardians of the Galaxy, though, I love that movie, but it was kind of bittersweet because it felt like the end of the old MCU. You know what I mean?
I want to. That's
Like,
when I'm looking. I didn't skip that one because I thought it was going to be whack. I just didn't get a chance to get to that one, but that
hmm,
one looks good to me. I would like to see it.
um, and
Quantumania
Black.
was rough. Quantumania was tough to get through.
So it did look like what's the kids' names? The Spy Kids or whatever.
Yeah,
That's what the CGI. And I know that Disney was they were cutting corners there. I feel like they're the way they treat like if you guys do like anybody out there wants to do like the research, they did like they do like a bidding kind of war between like special effects
yeah,
companies,
yeah.
and then they do a crunch time where they leave very little time for them to complete their work for very little money. And that is, I think, partially of what, the whole strike is about. Um, now it does feel directionless. However, Is there anything you guys are looking forward to, like in the MCU?
But Deadpool for sure.
Yeah,
Deadpool
Yeah.
3.
Deadpool is the only one I think.
Deadpool for sure. I mean, Falcon Winter Soldier. I mean, not Falcon Winter Soldier, but the new Captain America.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm intrigued because of that was my favorite Disney Plus show with Falcon Winter
Okay.
Soldier. That was top tier for me. I dig the dude as Falcon, Captain America. Like I don't feel any kind of way about it. And I usually like the more, if it's gonna be like political thriller type vibe,
Yeah.
I like that. And apparently Red Hulk is gonna be, introducing that, which I'm game for that for sure. So count
So
me in for
I
that.
think Armor Wars might be okay. Like that'd be the one that like the one TV show that I'm kind of like looking forward to. Or no, that they changed that to a movie, right? It was going to be a TV show and they made that a movie.
Something happened with it. Yeah, I think
yeah, I'm
either
not
they
really
scrapped it.
informed
They
on
might
that
have
one.
got scrapped, honestly. Now that Bob Iger wanted to cut back, they might have just scrapped it.
Yeah, bro, they're talking about like they're gonna sell freaking Disney to Apple and shit. I don't know what's going on with that, bro, but like that's kind of that's kind of news. I don't know if he's just using that as leverage, in the public arena against, the strikes or whatever. Because that whole thing is kind of like, you know, it's all whatever. But
Yo, did you know that the only streaming service that is profitable, and I think has ever been profitable, straight up, is Netflix. Netflix is the only profitable one, and I think that's a big reason why all this. I mean, I'm sure there's other reasons, but that's a big component to like all these brands like dissolving and cutting it up. And Warner Brothers is gonna sell to this, DC's going here, HBO's getting chopped up, Disney might get sold. I think these motherfuckers are dumping all kind of money into streaming services, and it ain't coming back. It's a new business model that I don't think they truly tested it long enough to figure it out. Like it on paper, it doesn't make sense to me how you can make a like Amazon Lord of the Rings show that it was like the most expensive TV show of all time. What was it, 400 or 500 million or some shit?
mhm.
Like, where are you gonna get that money back? Like, how in the fuck is Amazon Prime Video, which most people, I only have that shit because of free delivery, it ain't because of Prime Video.
Yeah.
And like, so everyone already has Prime Video for the most part. And even if motherfuckers do subscribe,
They only get it for like a month to watch the show.
I mean, even give them the benefit of the doubt. Say people come on board and stay subscribed. How long is it going to take you to make back that 500 million you put into Lord of the Rings just to break even? Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
business model seems jacked. And I think Disney's doing the same shit of like, you have to dish out money on the front end. Because I heard some business guy, I forget who he was with, but someone that works in streaming was like, yeah, whenever you launch a new streaming service, like, you're going to be in the red for like the first few years. They all expect that because you got to build a content library and then you got to go into original programming. It's all about original programming, they said, because it's almost like renting a house versus buying a house. You can put The Office a few seasons of this show, a few seasons of that show, stuff you don't own. You're just renting it for like a few years. Then that's why like Office was on Hulu for a couple of years. Then it was off. Like certain shows bounce around. But they want original programming because they own that shit, versus just renting it.
Mhm.
Moral of the story is you got to dump shit ton of money into a streaming service to hopefully attract people to even come to it. And it seems doomed. And I think we're going to end up, my prediction is we'll end up with 2 streaming services at the end of the day, Netflix and whoever else survives or merges into one.
Yeah, streaming wars.
Yeah, 'cause
They're
they're not
yeah.
even selling like the DVDs at Walmart or something for people to like buy in that way either. Like you can't
Yeah.
buy WandaVision or anything.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I mean,
can't
I
buy Prey.
You can't even make money that way.
Holy shit. That never occurred to me. Why can't you just buy DVD sets of this shit?
Yeah,
Of all the Disney Plus shows?
you have to subscribe, so they're losing out on that money too.
Wow. Well, I guess they don't do it because they think it takes away from the streaming service, right?
I
I'm guessing that's
guess.
their logic. But
See, it's a fucked up business model. See, it's built into it shit that's making you lose more money. Like you can't sell physical because you're afraid of. That's how precious those subscriptions are. It's like they live and die by them shits.
Yeah.
I think
And Netflix, they don't have a big they do have original programming, but it's not that big, is it? Like they have a few that come every year, like maybe 2 or 3 that's really big, like a Marvel show. Like right now we have The Witcher, and I don't even know what else. Like they'll get the Jeffrey Dahmer thing or whatever.
Stranger
Yeah.
Things was like
Yeah,
probably one of their
Strange-
biggest.
Yeah, but I mean, like you could name like Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black and The
Yeah.
Witcher and all these things in the course of a 10-year period of them making them, compared to like Disney doing fucking The Mandalorian and all these Marvel shows. They got to be throwing so much money into it.
Yeah, and the only reason Netflix is profitable is because what these motherfuckers are doing right now, dumping millions and millions into their thing to get a subscriber base. Netflix got in when the getting was good. Like
Mhm.
they were the only game in town, and they scooped up their customer base.
Yeah,
Easy.
we've had Netflix
In-house.
and fucking used to mail into DVDs. Like
Yeah.
I remember it transitioning, and I was like, this is the first time we got it on the Xbox or something. The streaming was so shitty. Like it was so hard to stream like a TV show because like our internet was bad or they weren't ready yet. But yeah, we've been with them for fucking ever. It's one of those. It's literally one of those streamers that we don't watch all the time, but we keep the subscription. But like other stuff,
think-
I'll get rid of.
And I think with Netflix, I think Netflix did, they provided something that everybody wanted, which was like a centralized library at the beginning, and then they would allow you to binge. And I feel like we're starting to move away from the whole binging, process. They're trying to, bait you in, lure you, give you a little bit, come in,
Weekly.
and yeah. And I think I blame Game of Thrones for that because I think Game of Thrones was like a cultural phenomenon those last 3 seasons. Like it was a pop culture event every week, and they were doing a weekly basis as well. And I think everyone's been trying to kind of bandwagon off of that success that Game of Thrones had. But you know, not everything is must watch as Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was like, for me at least, it was a must watch every single weekend. I was like, hell, who's gonna get stabbed today? And that kind of deal. But like not all that, it feels like a lot of times now we're kind of moving back towards cable. They started adding ads and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah. Because I think they're gonna start to realize like, maybe the only way that really works is some shit that's kind of like cable, and this whole streaming idea of like, look, just pay us $10 a month, bro, and we're just gonna give you all the seasons, watch it all at once, and then be done with it. Like it sounds great, but
and
yeah, I think there's some shows that lend themselves better to weekly than others, I guess. Like I'm happy that not everything just drops all at once. I do like that some things, like The Last of Us on HBO, I really like that show, and every Sunday night was like a little Sunday night tradition thing. Sit down, watch a new episode, chat about it over the course of the next week, maybe if it's worth it. But then there is some shit that I just like to see dump all at once. So depends.
and the thing I think too, like they're kind of impatient with it too. Like Game of Thrones didn't get big till like it was seasons deep into it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't watch Game of Thrones till like next month. But yo, Immortal Check wants he says he wants to bust your cheeks in Tekken, bro.
Yeah, we're completely ready. We've been like practicing like over and over and over again. So just
and now I'm in the PlayStation zone. So me and Biggie had some Tekken matches. I'm locked and loaded.
Me and Biggie played a long time ago, and I did kind of get my ass kicked, but like I think now I'm ready. So
nice.
Just
That
wanna-
Street Fighter 6. That Street
I
Fighter
got to
6.
stream.
yeah, we just got Street Fighter 6 too.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I hate the way that they do the roster though. Like it's such a weak roster, and they make you wait to get that full roster. But either way, it's a fun game.
So yeah, DC is not safe. We're gonna shit on you too. Just DC's been a fucking mess, like the whole thing, and but I feel like DC's kind of reset their thing right now. But right now they're getting killed at the box office. Like everything they put in sinks, bro. It's and a lot of it's some of it's got to be like stuff attached to the actors themselves. They're kind of, you know, the whole thing with the Flash. I think Ezra Miller being on there just completely sank that boat. Even though I thought the Flash was a pretty good movie, like I really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, the CGI sucked, but you know, for me, CGI is not usually a deal breaker. If the story's good, then I can eat it. But overall, you know, I thought the Flash was pretty good. So it's supposed to be the last one. It resets. Next, you got Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is like they're retracting their expectation. I don't know. There's an article out saying that they're thinking Blue Beetle's only gonna make like 12, 15 million coming out the gate,
Right.
which is like shitty. Like, and Aquaman's got the whole lady that shits the bed problem, and
Yeah.
How is
so
the Flash like a reset when they're still doing Aquaman?
Right.
yeah,
Like-
I think that
Is this actual DC promo material? Is this like from a DC? Are they saying universe reset? Do you know?
so. Yeah, James Gunn's saying that Blue Beetle is gonna be the first one in the new DCU. Like he likes Jaime Reyes that much, and I guess he wants to keep Aquaman as well. So I guess that's what we were saying. Like out of like this whole purge, I think he was only gonna keep Blue Beetle and Aquaman.
I feel like
But it,
keeping Aquaman kind of fucks up the whole reset.
yeah, because they got literally rid of the entire other Justice League.
But then you also got the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker is still
Yeah, yeah.
Around.
so that's still gonna be in. That's still gonna be because that's James Gunn stuff. So I think he's gonna keep it.
right.
And however, I think right now it's kind of tough, but I feel like once we get to the other side, once you start getting to like Creature Commanders, Waller, and then Superman Legacy, I feel like that's when we're kind of finally get to see what the actual DCU universe. Right now, it just feels like this freaking zombie between James Gunn and Snyder. It's just kind of a mishmash. It's a kind of a mess. However, I have pretty good expectations for Blue Beetle.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a fun movie.
I do like how they do the Elseworlds, where they can keep doing just weird stories and just say it's not part of the
Yeah.
universe that they're doing.
Yeah. I do like what you were saying, the like the Joker and the Batman are going to be like separate. I'm kind of glad that director, I forget his name, of the Batman with Patterson, he decided
Matt
to
Reeves.
keep that Matt Reeves, right? He decided to keep that world separate from mainline. He's like, man, I don't want none of that stinky shit over here. So, and I do like that they're taking that Batman with the more darker tone, because you usually get those two different kinds of Batman. You get Batman, you know, in his solo Elseworld dark brooding, and then you have like Batman in the Justice League, you know, where he like outsmarts everyone and flies ships and stuff like that. So I think
that Joker movie is a perfect example of like what I think Marvel is kind of missing in DC too. And I got a lot of thoughts about this DC shit, but what that Joker shows is like you don't have to throw 300 mil at a production for it to make bank. Like that was one of the most profitable comic book movies of all time, Joker. Because they didn't put like some ill budget behind it. They just made it. They just made a fire movie, or it seemed like they weren't aiming to make a comic book movie, per se. Like that shit won awards, like nominated for real actor awards. Like, you know, as good as Endgame was, I don't think there was a single nomination for acting. Maybe they got some special effects award, but like that's the kind of shit that Scorsese's talking about when he says, well, comic book movies ain't cinema. And even though it is a little blasphemous for him to say that, and I get people wanting to defend it, but I know what he means. Like he ain't entirely wrong. There kind of is in a lot, especially lately, doesn't feel like a lot of really inspired shit going on, and it does feel like it's mostly like part of the machine producing, like to the point that even one thing about Marvel that DC shouldn't have this problem moving forward, but they just fucked it up. But one thing about Marvel that's hurting them is more the creative side than the business side, because I was hearing Ethan Hawke on the set of Moon Knight talk about this shit, and when he said it, it really hit me like, damn, that is a very unique MCU problem is he was kind of low key shitting on the production. Like
Mhm.
he said that one aspect of that Moon Knight show is, you're used to certain things where like the director runs the show and the actor only has so much swing, like as far as artistic decision making and direction. You're kind of at the helm of the director, right? Director's vision, he calls the shots.
Mhm.
Marvel is such a machine that like even the directors are kind of disposable, and like they're almost a pawn to just like the boardroom of, that feeling that actors have of like, well, I can't really do my thing because I'm at the under the thumb of the fucking director. Even
Mhm.
directors and producers feel that way because they're under the thumb of Feige Marvel, and they're like, we're hiring you to make this Spider-Man movie, a Moon Knight show, but I don't give a fuck about your ideas, bro. You need to do this, this, and this. And because they have to keep everything connected and they have to be consistent with different, the branding of whatever the fuck, and
Mhm.
like it hinders creativity. So, moral story is, if you shoot for something a little more inspired, a little more artistic, je ne sais quoi, bro, like the Joker one,
Yeah.
you could probably save yourself hundreds of $1 millions. People like quality shit, and like build it and they will come. Like have some faith.
Mhm.
And that's
And
the end of
no, I agree. Like it does feel Joker did feel a lot more artistic. The angles, the lighting, the dialogue, everything just felt more dense and thick. It's stuff that you think about on the way home, on the drive home from the theater. And I think MCU did lose a little bit of that because they did used to have a little bit more layers into their film before. But I think at the same thing with a little bit of authenticity with their artistic. One critique I've always had about superhero films is that they try to rewrite the freaking graphic novel or the story. Like, yeah, I get it. You got to tweak it so you can make it on a film. It's not the same thing, but you already have a great story. Like, they're not picking like bum stories to adapt. Like we know that comic books come out every single week, and a lot of them aren't that great, But when you're picking like, the Dark Knight Returns, the Death of Superman, these are like already the cream of the crop stories. So I think it's kind of weird that when somebody tries to come in, it's like, no, I think I can rewrite this shit. I think I'll make something weird, and it usually doesn't work out because I feel like they understand the power of nostalgia, but I don't feel like they understand it completely. Just that remembrance, that nostalgia kick, that you recognize something familiar. That's a very powerful feeling, and I think that's big reason why a lot of us are like collectors and stuff like that. It's just that we recognize something and it triggers some kind of memory in us. At least in my opinion. And I think when they start messing with that stuff, it feels alien, it feels unfamiliar, and it feels weird.
Well,
Um,
DC like never like all they ever did was play catch up. They never
yeah,
like set out to actually do anything like Marvel, even though they were trying to copy them.
it.
They're
Yeah,
always playing
that's
catch up.
still, yeah, that's still, I feel like, kind of
Yeah,
copying Marvel.
yeah, and so like the Batman versus Superman was like the Death of Superman, Doomsday, Batman versus Superman, all in one movie, and like that could have been a three-parter. Like, but they want to
yep,
like they're like we got to get to where they're at, so let's cram everything together. And
yeah. They didn't want to take their time.
it always hurts the project.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a lot of thing with the streaming wars too, is that everybody's trying to catch up to Netflix. I think there's a lot of bandwagoning that goes on with the superhero stuff where, I guess, the essence of the stories gets lost. And yeah, because DC, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Even within the movie, when they made the like Batman versus Superman, somebody came in and they chopped the shit out of it, right? So I understand like Snyder fans on this one, like they chopped the shit out of that movie. So when you watched it, it like, oh wow, this sucks, and like it didn't make sense. Like it looked cool, but it didn't make sense. And then if you watch the ultimate or the unedited that
Yeah,
came out on Blu-ray, it's a whole lot better because they actually take their time. And Zack Snyder, actually lets scenes breathe, which is I feel like something they don't let movies do nowadays. Like you got to let that shit breathe sometimes. You
Yeah,
can't
that
just be go go go.
the Justice League, the Snyder cut that came out on HBO that was like 7 hours long or whatever. It felt like a completely different movie. Like even though it was basically the same movie and just added scenes, it felt like a different movie. Like it was just there was so much more there.
So Bobby Delgado does make a great point. DC does have a
Yeah.
good, healthy stock of animation movies.
Yeah, and that
Somebody named Mark.
I couldn't believe that they that Batman, because there's not much animation. I think just Creature Commandos is here on this animation slate. I guess Teen Titans Go, but like the fact that DC, Warner Brothers, whatever, they ended up cutting loose the Bruce Timm, well, not Bruce Timm, but Paul, he's dead. Paul Dini, fucking Caped Crusader, Batman animated series that looks so fire. They cut that shit loose, and I think either Apple or Amazon bought it.
Yeah.
They're
Like,
still doing that though, right? They're doing like a more adult
Yeah.
Bruce Timm style Batman.
yeah, and it seems like it's more throwback. Like he's got like little purple gloves and shit. I think like from the old school Detective Comics.
Yeah.
Um,
They're still
but-
doing the Harley Quinn one too, right?
Yeah, new season just dropped actually.
I've actually never seen that. That's the one I've never seen.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fun.
I mean, clearly Spider-Verse, I think, is proven that don't sleep on animation, especially coming from the world of comic books, which is like, hand in glove with animation, bro. Comic art.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're going next week to see the Turtles, so I'm still on the animation train. But
I've been hearing that Turtles is basically like the Turtles version of Spider-Verse as far as quality, innovation, all that. So I'm gassed to see that too, actually.
yeah,
That sounds pretty exciting, actually. Let's see what else I got in these slides. I don't know if I got much left. Oh yeah, pretty much Warner Brothers stock tanked. They went from 86, I think it's like $12 now. And I think that's all I have on DC. Basically, what's that?
Yeah. Let me get some shit off on this fucking DC.
All right, go in, bro. Go in, bro. Go
Let
in.
me tell you something. On the, can you go to the last one, the lineup?
Yeah.
Because clearly DC needed some kind of rehab, reboot, whatever. I was pretty disappointed in the way they pulled it off, or they are going about it. Like that announcement of, hey, it's James Gunn and I'm going to be doing DC was the most like pathetic. It was just him. I don't give a fuck. You want to blame COVID? Don't blame COVID. He was sitting in a room on a webcam, and he was just like listing off. He listed off like 10 different properties. They didn't even have an original logo to pop up when he said the name of it. We're gonna do Superman Legacy. You didn't even, bro. It's too early. Like, did you not learn your lesson from before? Like, don't just dive in acting like you got all the answers. Like Kanye, you ain't got the answers, Sway. Fucking don't come out here with, you haven't even put one movie out under the James Gunn era, and you're already announcing fucking 15 movies that's gonna happen. And yeah, we're gonna do Supergirl. It's gonna be based on this. We're gonna do Swamp Thing. Bitch, tomorrow ain't promised, my dude. Like this kind of lineup, you're talking, you just locked yourself down to 10, 12 years at least. So like, dog, don't do that. The world can change fucking in an instant. A pandemic can happen or whatever the fuck.
especially with the writers or the writer's strike right now, they're saying that nothing's going to really come out next year.
Bro,
So they're already behind.
and how do you know that you put out Lanterns or something and maybe Lanterns is a huge hit and you're like, you know what, let's not put out Booster Gold or whatever. Like, don't why I don't see the benefit to announcing all this stuff. Just like build excitement. It's like, bro, fuck building hype. Build good movies. Like everyone's hype. James Gunn, get your fucking ass off Twitter, bro. Like he's not Kevin Feige. I just think he was the wrong guy for the job. Like creatively, I would have done the same shit. Like scoop him up and get him on the team. But he's a worker to me. I would like if you gave me the job. Let's say they call.
But he's writing Superman. Kevin Feige's not writing any of this shit.
Right. Yeah, he's writing Superman. What a coincidence. You want to reboot the universe, and oh, isn't that cool? You're fucking all the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker is not getting rebooted. Like you're clearly showing favoritism. Aquaman somehow survived. Well, I think they were already producing that, so you can't really blame him. But I know he's boys with Jason Momoa.
They could have axed that shit because they fucking booted Batgirl out of there.
Yeah. I mean, he's too you can't have the creative guys like that. That was like just as bad of idea as trying to have like The Rock. It was like almost seemed like Rock was auditioning to like, yo, just let me run DC. Like
Yeah.
they would just sit
Yeah.
in there like, somebody please tell us what to do. You almost had The Rock fucking cuck
Yeah.
you guys out.
Yeah, that's what fucked up the end of Shazam was like The Rock saying like I want it to be Henry Cavill and me. It's like what, you know, like or at the end of Black Adam or whatever, you know,
It was
instead
it
of like
was
Shazam walking in.
it was fragmented. So I will say this, like in James Gunn's defense, I will be representing him here. And so they do have another guy. What's his name?
Yeah, that producer
Saffron.
guy.
Yes, he's supposedly supposed to
Yeah,
be
Zac Efron.
right. I do agree with you. Like he might be putting the cart ahead of the horse right now, but I'm willing to give him a try, see what he does, because I think he's got a good track record to where
Me too.
everything he's done has been on some quality level. You know, like I think his Guardians really changed the tone of the MCU. I think after that, everything was a little bit more, jokey joke, funny, funny. Because I was actually watching The Winter Soldier the other day. Great freaking movie, but it was funny, but it was like they had kind of like they would it was a competitive kind of you know giving each other shit kind of thing. Whereas after you know Guardians of the Galaxy, it became more like kitty and funny and funny. So I'm willing to and I like this more adult stuff too, like Peacemaker. I thought that Suicide Squad that one surprised me. I thought that I was like, there's no fucking way this guy can make the Weasel successful. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
I love that Suicide Squad movie. It's a great movie.
and I was like, wait, you got Starro in this thing, the Justice League or Suicide Squad against Starro? Like, how the fuck is this gonna work? It felt like it was just gonna be another, bloated DC movie, but
I,
it ended up presently surprising me.
I really liked James Gunn's Brightburn, where he did like an evil version of like Superman as a kid. Did you ever see that?
Yeah,
That-
that was a
I
great one.
know of it, but I haven't seen it yet. No.
It was pretty wild. Like they reference like the kid is supposed to be a young Superman, and then they reference like the, Aquaman and Wonder Woman and all this stuff. But it's like it's not DC, and it's like a horror version of this. It's pretty fucking crazy.
And to clarify too is like I don't think James Gunn is. I think James Gunn's doing what he's supposed to do and like doing the best of his ability. It was more of like he shouldn't get put in that. He shouldn't have got put in that spot. Like,
Yeah, it's going
how
to be
could
tough
you
for him
not
to do that.
yeah, how could you, if as a creative guy, director and shit, it's like almost shame on the producers for putting it on him. Like, you guys were so out of leadership. You knew that you wanted James Gunn, which is the right decision, but like you just got no leadership. You just said, "Oh, just give it to him." Like, if I was gonna take the job, like there's no movie that he's put out that I think is like subpar superhero wise. There's not even anything on this docket. Like, none of these movies here coming out do I necessarily feel like you shouldn't make this. This looks stupid.
Yeah,
Like, they could all be fine. The thing is, all we have is a fucking logo and James Gunn talking about it in front of a webcam. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
I'm just,
And
I guess, give the benefit of the doubt. I don't fucking know anything
it's
about
going to
it.
be tough for him to like stay on top of it. Like if he's writing these shows and he's directing any of these shows, and then
Yeah.
like it's some of these other stuff is left in the hands of the other guy.
yeah, somebody else.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's all going to get like fucked up eventually. The
yeah, I
deeper
get
you
it. Like,
get into it, the harder
it's
it's
like
going to.
Superman could be a hit, but Waller could be fucking pilot dog shit. Like that just depends on who they put on there. But
Like, that was
I
pretty wild.
honestly,
To put out Black Adam
Yeah.
and introduce the JSA, and then one movie later, just like I don't think they're going to continue with them at all, right? They're just kind of like,
Yeah, it's done. I
I say.
think it's all
So
done.
I think with the casting, they just cast Hawk Girl, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they have an opportunity to make another JSA, but it'll be like a different.
I think they really
different
need
team.
to do a really hard reset, like almost no even Peacemaker, like nothing to
Yeah.
do with any of the old stuff, and then Creature Commandos going forward is just all new, and this is a new universe. Like if he wants to keep Jason Momoa, like they've talked about making him Lobo, like make him Lobo, but don't make him Aquaman anymore. But, like figure something else out to do than try to carry both universes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it that has to do with like the behind the scenes politics. You know what I'm saying? Like You
Yeah.
know, I like, well, you do this for me, I take care of you, this is what I got to do, like, and I feel like it's very difficult for, to have that clean, cut just because everyone's so, I think everyone in Hollywood's just like fucking big bag of noodles just tangled up. But hopefully with this strike that might, even things out because it appears everybody's kind of unified on one front. And we'll see how this whole strike goes out because right now it doesn't seem like there's going to be a quick end. There's no negotiations and uh, you know,
Yeah, I know. I'm curious how that's gonna go. But
so
I almost
that's
feel like
that's gonna
it needs like some practice movies. Not practice, but like rebooting an entire universe is like a big decision.
yeah.
And it's like make sure you have a vision. Like, do they for sure have a vision? And even the thing with vision is like sitting in a room and talking about it with 20 different creative people and coming up and putting up all these logos and being like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Sometimes the way shit plays out, you hear it all the time of like that show's Succession. I don't know if you guys watch HBO Succession, but big popular show. Logan Roy is like the main character of the movie.
Mhm.
So they were originally going to kill him in the first season, and the show was going to be about the kids in the Succession. They didn't. Spoiler alert: they didn't kill him off until the fourth season, and like he was a huge, like the biggest successful part of that show was that dude Logan Roy, which is because as they started getting the shit, they had conversations on what they thought the show was going to be. Then when you get motherfuckers on set and you point cameras at them and you start filming things and you see the actor's performance and audience reaction to it, shit evolves, and like you have to kind of react to what's happening, and you got to give yourself freedom to adapt, and that's what
Okay.
something like this doesn't allow you that. Like, let shit breathe. Let's see. Who knows? Like, who knew that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be as successful as it was? Um,
And so yeah, I get what you're saying, like yeah, maybe announce maybe the first three projects, Creature Commandos, while hey guys, I'm doing Superman, and we'll see where we go from there.
yeah, try some directors out. See who they need, like a crew of like their go-to guys, and James Gunn should definitely be like a main puzzle piece there, like no doubt. But you need some other. I would say Matt Reeves. I would say like Matt Reeves, James Gunn, just like back the Brinks truck up to those guys. But they need to have a boss, like have a boss that they answer to, And
Yeah. So
if you could,
um
if you would humor me, right? Because I've been meaning to make a video of like, if you gave me the job instead of James Gunn, here's how I would have did it, brother. Type of video
yeah,
that I got around to doing. Can I spit you my 3 phase on how to fix the DC universe?
go for it, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Buckle up.
Let's go.
All right. So, based on what I just said, you gotta ease into it, and I'm gonna put myself. If you put me in the same predicament that James Gunn was in, which was he took over right before Black Adam still didn't come out yet. Shazam 2 was like completely wrapped, but
Yeah.
still didn't come out yet. And Flash didn't come out yet, right? But they're mostly filmed. I only have so much influence over them. So you plot me in right there. My perspective would be like, yes, we definitely need to reboot the universe. But like we're in the middle of a bunch of shit, bro. And you can't just like I wouldn't want to just drastically cut everything off right at that point. And start completely new because I feel like I need to get my bearings. So Black Adam drops, right? I guess if I have to, the movie has to stay the way it is, even though I think they could have made it a little better and built up that JSA a little better. But the two main things I would say is don't kill Dr. Fate. Like, there was no reason he needed to die. That was like a cheap pop. It felt like a totally cliche of ripping off like an endgame moment of killing Tony Stark or some shit. But
Like
it
it was a
didn't
business
matter.
decision.
Like, we just met him in that movie and then he died in that movie. Like, I don't give a fuck that he died. Like, why kill him? Why take a piece off the board? He's a dope character. But
How much we paying Priest Brosnan? Oh fuck, don't kill him.
yeah. So Black Adam, two changes I would make. I would not kill Dr. Fate, and at the end, instead of the Superman cameo, movie's over. We see Dr. Fate chilling at his mansion. Someone rolls up on horseback with a cloak on. The cloak reveals what it's Wonder Woman, and she's like, "I'm Wonder Woman. I need to talk to you about something." Right, and then
That's an excellent gal, bro. Like,
there it is. Shazam 2. I just put that out and just I try to make sure no one notices that it came out. Flash.
I don't think they did.
Yeah. So let's just keep it on the low if that even exists. Flash. I like using it. Flash is like a clutch movie that I would start tinkering with because that would like kind of set us up a little bit. I would use Flash to shake things up, kind of like they did. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know the ins and outs. But use it to get Ben Affleck off the table because he wanted out, right? And use it to get Henry Cavill Superman off the table. Not that that's, and I'll get back to that, but for right now, because everything seems like there's some weird shit going on with him. So get Affleck and Superman off the table and bring Michael Keaton in, just like they did. Great. Michael Keaton's the new Batman. Now we get into new shit. Phase 1. Peacemaker, season 2. Introduce Lobo in that shit, right? I'm not gonna get into the. I got these like story details of how it happens. I'm not gonna get into go crazy. But you introduce Lobo in that shit. He's Peacemaker's no match with Lobo, but so he gets fucked up. But at the end of Lobo, have that motherfucker get apprehended by like a Green Lantern police officer dude, just a low level Green Lantern bum. Just introduce they exist. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Next TV show, Green Lantern Corps. Fucking, we're just talking Kyle Rayner. What's the Cruz chick name? Jessica Cruz.
Jessica.
Introduced them as like Green Lantern. They just got the job as a new Green Lantern in how space cops. They say space cops. Yeah, and it's like they're at a police station type of vibe. There's beat cops like that dude's
fucking Lethal Weapon, bro.
Some Lethal Weapon shit. But what would be revealed is that the Green Lantern has like a hierarchy. There's like level 1 is like your beat cop. They're almost they enforce like the lower level shit. That's where Kyle and dude is and that chick is. Level 2 is like more like military type shit. Like you got to go to this is like a straight up conflict, intergalactic battle. And that's where homeboy Jon Stewart, like that would be, and Guy Gardner. And then the supreme level is like Jedi type level shit. Like these are Green Lantern dudes that are like beyond the military, dude. They've so mastered that ring, dog. This is when you gotta fucking scrap with dark side type shit, and that's where your Hal Jordan exists and whatnot. But right now we're just peering you into the police station vibe.
Yeah.
And then you end phase 1 with fucking Static Shock, bro. You gotta do Static Shock. You gotta DC. This is their chance to get to making a hip, young, hip hop, Latino, black superhero before Marvel swoops in and Miles kills y'all, and get to it before they do. You've been behind. You've been chasing Marvel's heels for years. You got an opportunity to get in front of this before they do. Like, that's a big open gap in the market right now. Is like something like a Miles Morales, young, hip teenager superhero. That's like a good movie, bro. Get Static Shock in there. Like they had Michael B. Jordan fucking attached to something, right? That's good.
I think at one point they had him with Jon Stewart, but he's like, I think he's getting too old now. Like, I think that was one thing James Gunn is doing really well. He's casting like really young people that he can keep around for a long time.
I think Michael B was attached as like a producer for Static Shock, though. So I like behind the scenes type shit, not on.
That's kind of what they're doing with Blue Beetle, though. Like, sort of.
And
I don't know.
I like what Blue Beetle's doing. Like, Latin America, bro, is buzzing. Like, I'm gonna go there, bro. Like the whole, representation. I believe that representation is important, but I think authentic representation is more important. And that's what Blue Beetle feels like. It feels authentic. Blue Beetle is not like they just took Ted Cord you know, put a brown filter on them and then
Yeah,
like, here you
yeah,
go,
yeah.
guys. Here's your, because to have an authentic Blue Beetle who's actually written as a Latino, because if you're just putting like a skin on a person and you're pretty much saying that, you know, everyone's experiences in America are the same, and they're not. I think people, you know, depending on who they are, they all have different experiences. It's kind of like Peter Parker. If you just name him Pedro, it just wouldn't feel the same way. It would feel alien. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, like I'm gonna have to, you know, cut it short here. It was excellent conversation, but I got to get to work in a little bit. So
Working
thank
that
you
night
to
shift, huh?
everybody. Yeah, I got to do that graveyard shift, man.
Hey,
And so thank you everybody for the chat. Excellent conversation. We got to continue this, man. Like this was a great, great,
I
great
still got phase
conversation.
2 and 3, so yeah, well,
I
I'll
know. So to be
stay tuned for phase
continued.
2 and 3.
So James Gunn, if you're watching this, bro, and you need some scabs, let us know, man. Like, I'll do a Black Manta story for you, man.
Yeah, we're
Whatever you
not
want for
SAG, bro. None of us are SAG union. We're freelancers.
it. So, yeah, man. Again, thank you to everybody showed up. Mortal Biggie, bottom tier, Bobby, you know, everyone that was in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kenny, for
Got it.
you know rolling with us. He's gonna roll that outro for us, and then we gonna getting good.
Oh yeah.